Log on to u.tv/uplayer. Catch up with your UTV favourites and much more on the uPlayer.
Now from the UTV News Centre, it's UTV Live.
It was bigger than the bomb that devastated Omagh. A 600-pound bomb is defused in South Armagh.
Had this device exploded, it would have demolished local housing with fatal consequences.
The husband of a UDA murder victim says it's time the terror group handed over all its guns.
And could a Dublin assets agency set off a property crash in Northern Ireland?
Hello and welcome to the programme this Tuesday evening with Paul Clark and Linda Bryans.
Thank you for joining us. Also on UTV Live.
After two swans were shot with a crossbow, the cunning plan from the USPCA and fire service to save them.
And with only 24 hours to go before the big match, Nigel Worthington says Northern Ireland can still win without Kyle Lafferty.
And as the high pressure moves closer, have you worked out yet what outdoor jobs need doing over the next 7 days or so? Is it really going to be totally dry, and will the sun actually shine? Find out here in 25 minutes.
But first, tonight's top story. Police say a blockbuster bomb planted close to the border was intended to murder police officers. The
device contains 600 pounds of homemade explosives, bigger than the Omagh bomb. It was defused by the army outside Forkhill in South Armagh, as Niall Donnelly reports.
This was the scene around Carriff Road in Forkhill this morning as the 4-day-long operation to dismantle a huge bomb abandoned by dissident Republicans on the South Armagh-County Louth border came to an end. The bomb consisted of 600 pounds of homemade explosives, the sheer scale of it thrown into focus when you consider that the Omagh bomb of 1998 was a 500-pound one and it killed 29 people and 2 unborn twins. This massive device in South Armagh was left just outside Forkhill, close to 6 houses, and was just 50 feet from the nearest dwelling. The command wire to trigger it led from the roadside where it was planted, across fields and into the Republic. The bomb was defused by army experts from both sides of the border. Had it exploded, the police say it would have had devastating effects.
This was a substantial device, so much so that had this device exploded, it would have demolished local housing with fatal consequences. Police have had to evacuate 6 homes and 6 families for an extended period of time, and I would like to thank that community. This was a device planted by reckless criminal terrorists with the aim of killing police officers engaged in providing a community service to this area. However, they gave no regard for the residents of that area and should rightly be condemned.
Leading politicians have condemned those who planted this bomb, describing them as reckless and evil.
There is a concern in South Armagh in particular. There's a growing recklessness here, which could lead to deaths of people in the community. And people in the community are quite rightly asking in whose name has all this activity been carried out, because certainly the people there have expressed very clearly their wish for peaceful political change in Ireland.
I think that it shows very clearly the ongoing threat of terrorism. It shows that there are evil people out there, still prepared and with the equipment to take life in Northern Ireland. And I'm delighted it has been diffused, but it does show that there is still a very real and present danger.
The discovery of this blockbuster bomb comes just days after a so-called show of strength by dissident Republicans in nearby Meath. And it's just the latest in a series of deadly operations by them this year. In January, they abandoned a 300-pound bomb in Castlewellan, and in May in Rosslea, the component parts for a 100-pound device were found. Already this year, dissidents have killed 3 members of the security forces. 2 soldiers were shot dead at Masserine Barracks in Antrim, and a policeman shot dead in Craigavon. The vast majority of people will be mightily relieved that a bomb of this magnitude has been found and defused. But the fact it was planted at all shows that dissidents still retain a deadly capability. The police insist they have the resources to combat them. Niall Donnelly, UTV Live at Newry Police Station.
A man whose wife was murdered by the UFF in West Belfast has welcomed the UDA's decision to disarm by February next year. As Jane Lockery reports, General-The has also confirmed that the UVF has completed its decommissioning.
This is Raymond Hanna being comforted by a police officer just moments after UFF gunmen murdered his wife Philomena. The 26-year-old, who worked in a chemist shop on the Springfield Road, was shot once in the back. The gunmen then walked in front of her and shot her 5 times in the head. The mother of 2 young daughters died instantly.
I ran into the shop and the policeman grabbed me and put me out and says, "No, you can't go in there." He says, "But that's my wife in there." He says, "No, you can't go in, son, you can't go in." And people just come over to me and says she was dead. And that was it, that was my life gone down the tubes in a matter of seconds.
This morning, the IICD confirmed that the UDA, including its breakaway faction in South East Antrim, have pledged to decommission the remainder of their arms, a process which it began in June, before February next year, when the government's amnesty expires.
It's great to hear, you know, that hopefully know that our family's going to go through the likes of it, like the likes of myself and the people who's lost loved ones in the troubles are not going to go through it anymore. And hopefully that they say that when they're taking the guns off the streets, they mean it.
Given the speculation about splits within the UDA in Derry and North Antrim, the IICD said it had met the leaders of all 5 brigades and there is no difference of opinion among them on decommissioning. The Ulster Political Research Group, the political wing of the UDA, agrees.
We believe the UDA is doing it the right way, consulting their members from one end of the country to the other. We're pleased that everybody's coming along, everybody's on board, and it's an important element if we're going to have a sustainable peace. We do not want to go into factions, we don't want to go into that type of scenario.
The IICD also confirmed that it had witnessed the UVF and Red Hand Commando decommission first-hand in June, an act which comprised all that was under the control of both organisations. Sinn Féin has welcomed the move.
They have committed themselves to resolving the issue of arms. Now, what the public want to see is the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. So people will want to hear the report which says that this matter of arms has been dealt with once and for all.
The Secretary of State has described the report from the Independent Decommissioning Commission as hugely significant. Sean Woodward says Northern Ireland has been transformed over the past decade and, with the help of General John de Chastelain, is moving away from conflict towards peace. Jane Lockery, UTV Live, East Belfast.
Later in the programme, we'll be hearing from a mother who has told an inquest the UDA shot her son when it was meant to be on ceasefire. And also to come on the programme, after the Irish Football Association's decision to redevelop Windsor Park, is this really the end of the dream of one stadium for all the major sports here?